And today we're in Germany, some 30 kilometers east of Bremen at Sottrum for round 3 of the 1995 Eurocup competition. You've probably seen a signpost with the name on it on the Autobahn to Hamburg. Well, Sottrum is a small town with a population of about 5,000, with an eye on the future, but intent on preserving the rich heritage of the past. An ambitious project in the centre of town is the erection of an old-style farm. The smallest of the 3 buildings is a bakery, then there's the food store building, and finally the main farm building with the crossed horses' heads, a local tradition. An original farm building from the 1700s has been re-erected with many of the original timbers being used. When completed at the end of the year, it will serve as both a museum and a cultural centre. And overlooking the farm is the local church, which dates back to 1200 and gets its name from St. George, who slayed the dragon. Not unfamiliar to British viewers. However, whether the veterinary surgeon who owns this fine house would approve of killing dragons is open to question. But in 1700, the original lord of the manor also owned this picturesque watermill, which has now been lovingly restored and is back in working order, so it's possible to see how corn was ground in the olden days. But as the big wheel keeps on turning, it's time for us to turn to the big event of the year in Sottrum, tractor pulling for the Eurocup. There are competitors from 8 countries and it promises to be an action-packed programme. It's very hot and humid and there's a possibility of thundery showers, but they've almost completed preparations on the track, which is well drained and a combination of sand and clay. Looks like they're rationing the chalk, so they're going to need good eyesight to stay in bounds. And if you're new to the sport, this is the sledge competitors have to pull down a 100-metre track, whilst a weight box moves from the back of the sledge to the front, making it harder to pull. As a warm-up to the Eurocup, we're going to start with a 3.4-tonne superstock competition, round 7 in the German Championships. This is the first to pull, Thomas Kaiser and Whitesnake. It's a Deutz 8006, which Thomas brought 3 months ago. And Thomas is a real heavy smoker, isn't he? Goodness me, I think he needs an oxygen mask in there. Oh. Well, our camera's at about the 80-metre mark, so Whitesnake slithers to a halt well short of that. He's losing oil as well. So the 33-year-old transport boss from Stuttgart has made his mark with the crowd and on the track as well. Now let's see the distance. 86.73 for Whitesnake. This is a special chemical powder that soaks up the oil and prevents it from seeping into the soil. The superstocks that we'll be seeing today have up to 3 turbos to help boost power to shift the sledge. Here's next to go Hot Stuff from Denmark. Getting coupled up there. They pull by friction on top of the surface by spinning the rear wheels as fast as possible. Let's watch Hot Stuff. And the difference to Whitesnake couldn't be more marked. Hot Stuff runs on methanol, so there's no smoke. Oh, but plenty of fire in his International 1066. He's over the 100-metre mark, and that is our first full pull of the day. And they've noticed the difference as well. So, a good start for Hot Stuff. And that must be for being a good boy. This event is being held over 2 days. All the hotels for miles around are fully booked. And lots of the spectators have brought tents or camper vans. As we see the next to pull, Niels Damgaard and Blue Power from Denmark. He's the reigning European 3.4-tonne champion. He's had lots of mechanical problems this year with his Ford 8340. Oh dear, and it doesn't look like he's solved them yet. So, another disappointing run for the 48-year-old Dane. 70.67 is the distance, and he's got a lot of work to do before tomorrow's Eurocup. Well, that's one way of keeping the temperature down. Take the cool element out of your icebox. Now this is Kaiser from Germany. Bernd Marken is behind the wheel of this Deutz 9006, which no one can confuse with the Valmet of the same name from Finland. Currently second in the German Championships, and this looks like a full pull to me. Oh yes, home and dry for the tractor mechanic from Edevet near Oldenburg. But that smoke and steam doesn't look too healthy at all. Full pull is confirmed, but there's oil on the track, which could mean many things, none of which is good. And I think Bernd knows he has a problem by the way he's looking down. Anyway, whilst they make adjustments and add extra weight to the sledge, let's look at those who've made the pull-off. Hot Stuff has broken a differential and a turbine, and Kaiser has damaged a cylinder, so there are 7 left, 4 from Germany, 2 from Finland, and 1 from Sweden. Well, the break has given people time to visit the refreshment stalls and perhaps buy an ice cream. Well, I don't know what he said, probably something naughty by her reaction. And she has found herself a popcorn automat. Well, the crowd are returning to their places, the VIPs are sitting comfortably, and that's Thomas Patterson with a timely advert for the forthcoming European Championships at Hårbo near Malmö in September. But for now, he'll be looking for a good result to warm up for tomorrow's Euro Cup competition. So his clean machine gets rolling. He comes from Fort Wayne in Indiana, and it took him to the Swedish Championship last year. So 38-year-old Mr. Patterson sets the standard the others have to beat, and that reads 60.67 meters. Now from Germany, it's Fiat Super Agri, currently 4th in the German Championships after 6 rounds. It's a Fiat 160/90 with Klaus Blank behind the wheel and pushing the pedals. Well, I'm sure he'd hope for longer than that, and he won't improve his position in the German Championship, that's for sure. Quite a little fountain coming up from his exhaust stack. 47.74 for Klaus Blank and Fiat Super Agri. They're having a good time, aren't they? But that's one of the things about tractor pulling. Men and women, boys and girls of all ages come along and have a good time. And time now for Klaus Radke from Tosted near Hamburg and Blue Chicken. He's been pulling for 9 years, but he missed 4 of the first 6 rounds in the championship, so he's well behind in the points. He is well down the track, a bit close to the sidelines maybe, but nonetheless, a fine run from Blue Chicken, and I think Klaus Radke will be happy with the performance of his Ford 7810. 64.58 is the distance, and he takes the lead. And these folk have come halfway across Germany to see this, and that is why they're sleeping through it all. And this guy says, stick to beer and you'll be okay. A little overweight, but okay. Now from Finland, it's the Valmet 8200 of Pekka Hurlevy. This is Delta Power. He's saving the other Valmet Kaiser until tomorrow. Coupled up, and now he's clipped on. Oh, and flowers. You can tell his wife and daughters are along on this trip. Pekka's a truck driver by trade, and that's just as well. It's a long, long drive from Finland. And it seems even longer on the way back if you haven't won anything. Well, this is a much shorter journey now. Oh, not a smooth run. Delta Power dancing around a bit. And not doing the business. 55.78 for Delta Power and Pekka Hurlevy. And he will be hoping for better luck tomorrow. This really is one of those lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer, and the crowd really relaxing in the sun. Oh, and skull to you too, dear. Right, 3 to run, and here's the current leader in the German Championships, Hans Schweiger and Rowdy. He won the first 4 rounds and is all of 40 points ahead of his nearest competition. And I think he's done it again, well ahead of Blue Chicken, and he must be favourite now to capture his 4th successive 3.4-tonne title. 69.96, nearly 6 metres ahead of the Chicken. A wave returned, and a little more, but the crowd pleased to salute a good German run. A little bit of raking and rolling before the last 2 to run. He's either hungry or he's practicing the kiss of life. But they come up for air, which is just as well, or they'd miss the next to run, Little Red and Bad Rooster with Hans-Peter Stratman. It's an international case 946 with the smallest engine in superstock competition. That's his brother pacing around, watching intensely. They overcome the handicap of a small engine by getting a higher RPM out of the engine. Now, whether it's high enough is another matter. No, Little Red and Bad Rooster runs out of revs at about the 50-metre mark, I think. 49.69 for Hans-Peter Stratman. The competitor's enclosure full as usual. And now it's Mikko Perä, who says to first flagman Jens van Aschwege, "Would you like to remove that rock from out of my way, please?" Right, now the 43-year-old agricultural machine salesman from Ilestaro can concentrate on the job at hand. Mega Power has to beat 69.96 to win. The big man from Finland is going well, a little wide perhaps. And that is good enough to get him one of the places on the winner's rostrum. 62.30, so Mega Power into 3rd place behind Blue Chicken and Rowdy. Here's the official result. And it's time for us to take a break, but we'll be back with the mini pullers after this. And welcome back to Sottrum in Germany for round 3 of the 1995 Eurocup tractor pulling competition. And it's not with these machines. This is part of a quite comprehensive exhibition of old tractors and farm machinery that has attracted quite a lot of attention here at the showground. Tractor names and makes that are no longer being manufactured have brought back memories for many of the older farmers who've made their way here today. And many of the younger ones have enjoyed it too. There were also lovely floral displays, but this one was very much a case of 3 wheels on my wagon and I'm still rolling along. Just. But all 4 wheels are intact on this one. And the bodywork looks pretty shapely too. But now it's time to concentrate on the mini pullers. They start early these days, don't they? It's the first Eurocup competition of the weekend. Final preparations are being made to the tractors, which can't weigh more than 0.9 tons. And the mini pullers also have their own smaller sledge. And here you can see the complicated series of gears and chains that helps the sledge operator do his job. And whilst everyone relaxes and grabs a final few minutes rest before the event, we asked Barbara Brost how her company came to sponsor the successful Ghostbuster team.
Well, there you see Hubert at the left side. Hubert was a former member of Paschal, and one day he came with an exciting idea to us. He said, why we can do something together in tractor pulling. It's okay. We said, yeah, why not? We will do. And so we are together now in tractor pulling. I think they are so successful because they are highly qualified people. They have a special know-how in their hobby, and they are doing all the spare parts even for their Rolls-Royce motor. It's a 12 cylinder machine, and so This is one reason. And the second reason, they are so enthusiastic people. And we like this because we are the same. Huh? So I think we are a good team and we try both to be successful in the future.
Thank you, Barbara. And let's remind ourselves of the point scores after round one at Wallaby Flevo in Holland. European champion Egbert Dross is in the lead from Ghostbuster, and third place Lambada the fourth is not running today. The minis didn't pull in Bernay, so unlike the other two classes who have 5 rounds, they're reduced to 4 with the best 3 scores counting. Tattoos would appear to be in fashion, and all the warm weather has made the track very, very dry, so the local fire brigade are pleased to lend a hand and dampen things down. And they look as though they could do with a cold bath as well, don't they? Right, the Iron Maniac is moving into place. Boom, the camera girl, has loaded up with film. And the first mini is backing up to the sledge. It's Blue Magic with Andreas Lionel behind the wheel. Andreas currently 4th in the German Championships, which is where he finished last year. He's powered by a Chrysler 453. Oh, and this is preciously close to a full pull for the 26-year-old mechanic from near Stuttgart. 93.65 for Andreas. Judging by his reaction, he could well have mechanical problems. The start today was delayed by some 45 minutes because long traffic jams on the motorway had caught up some of the competitors. So everything is running late, and we hope we can finish before it gets too dark because there are no track lights. Now from Norway, this is Carl Sofersengen and Mini Breaker. In a familiar position, two-wheeling it down the arena for a really convincing full pull. His Keith Black engine giving him all the power he needed. No messing about by the Norwegian, who looks like he means business today. Now from Germany, this is the Joker, reigning Eurocup holder, who couldn't get his engine to start for the pull-off at Wallaby Flevo a couple of weeks ago. But he's going now. And going all the way to join Mini Breaker in the pull-off. And that will please the 20-year-old industrial mechanic from Edlin-Scheis near Stuttgart. What a good run that was. There's confirmation, full pull to Joker. Now here's Mr. Rabbit, which many years ago was owned by Willem Veldhuizen in Holland and was known as the General. Jürgen Weibel is behind the wheel. And he is making heavy weather of it. No, it's not Mr. Rabbit's day, although he has had some useful results in the German Championships. 48.6 for Jürgen Weibel. Now from Denmark, the first of 4 competitors, it's Gators with Torben Hansen. That's Jaap van der Poel, a member of the international jury, making sure everything runs by the book. And Gators is really going for it. Oh, a bit of trouble with the steering. But when you've got that type of speed, what the heck? He's home and dry. And he's delighted. So full pull to the Dane. And now all eyes in the VIP enclosure are looking to the start, where Ghostbuster is getting ready for its run. Helmut Schwartz is the pilot for one of the most successful minis in Europe. European champion in 93, runner-up in 92 and 94. So this team know their way around a pulling track. He's got a Rolls-Royce Meteor Panzer tank engine in front of him. And now the 100 meters is behind him. Simple as that. The second full pull to Germany. He waves over to his friends, and she waves back. And his own little helper tows him back to the pits. They always give 100%, and that's made them very popular with crowds everywhere, especially, of course, in Germany. Listen to that applause. Now, next to Paul is 25-year-old Mark Urbanite with Little Angel. Oh, a bit of a wild angel, if you ask me. But his Keith Black 517 has done the job. A full pull to Mark the mechanic, who lives just 20 kilometers from Sottrum. And there is confirmation. Right, next into the arena is a very experienced puller. 30-year-old Klaus Mullenbrock, and it's a Ford 460 that you'd normally find in a Lincoln Cadillac, providing the power for the Eagle. Boom is getting ready with her Instamatic. Now screws on the power and the Eagle is off. Almost stops, but then takes off again. Well, the Eagle has finally landed, but not in the pull-off, I'm afraid. 67.31 is the best he could do. 6 more are left to pull, and we have 5 in the pull-off. Now from Denmark, this is Discovery with Søren Lauritsen. It's a Chevy 472 with a little field blower which he bought from the Fox team. Discovery's 4th in the Danish Championships at the moment. And this looks like a good pull to me. Straight down the middle, which is the shortest way, and Discovery makes it into the pull-off. A full pull for Søren Lauritsen. And now it's the current leader of the band, Egbert Dross, and Simply Irresistible. More power, more speed, and he shuts off and coasts the last 10 meters. That was impressive from the European champion. Thirsty work taking all these pictures. Raking and rolling goes on after every pull, making sure that the track is A-OK for every competitor. Iron Maniac on its way back to the start. And we certainly have been lucky with the weather. The thundery showers have stayed well clear of Sottrum. Right, this is another Danish competitor, Kenneth Dale and Roadrunner. He shares the driving with his wife Annetta, but it's him behind the wheel today. Oh, his Chevy 427 roars to life. And this is another Mini that is not going to be stopped. The full pulls are coming thick and fast now. And Roadrunner joins the club. Kenneth is chairman of the Danish Tractor Pulling Association, and that's his wife Annetta walking alongside. Now from Germany, this is T-Rex with Raphael Rieback. He tells me that this is the oldest Mini in the country. Certainly looks like a pretty ancient engine to me. It's a Cadillac 472. He's only 20 years old, and in October he's off into the army for a year. But he's getting a very bumpy ride as the weight box catches up with him. So no pull-off for Raphael, who's another local lad from Seinfeld, which is about 14 kilometers from here. 62.23 for T-Rex, who gets a helping push from Michael Fleissig, who's one of the German technical officials. The sun going down really fast now, and the light fading with it. Just 2 to run. This is Heavy Chevy with Jens Sørensen. He's the current Danish champion and leading again this year. With Chevy 510 working perfectly, belting out the power and getting him down to the 100 meters in double quick time. So full pull to the 31-year-old mechanic from Videbæk. Still extremely hot, And it's even hotter for the guys in their special driver's overalls. But now we're left with just one to run. It's TB Stubborn Sister from Holland, with Frank Verboven sitting behind the Chevy 481. And just like Mini Breaker, he does it all on two wheels. So that is 10 full pulls, but Gator's ring and pin broke, so he's out of the pull-off, which looks like this. But unfortunately, there are no stadium lights, and that means that we can only bring you the runs from the top three finishers. Right, first into the arena from Norway, it's Mini Breaker and Carl Sofersengen. Second in the Eurocup last year, he aims to go one better this year. Limbering up. And almost rising to the occasion, his Keith Black 572, pumping out the power. This is going to be a hard act to follow. He's over the 100-meter mark yet again for a double full pull. Mick Holland giving a helpful push. Oh dear, he's come a real cropper. But I hope the sledge is okay. And now you can see just how quickly the light is failing. This is Joker from Germany. Thomas Zimmermann, highlighted by spectators taking flash pictures. And Joker won't have the last laugh tonight. He's short of a full pull, gets 92.6 for the Eurocup holder. And now finally, Egbert Drost. Is he going to make it 2 wins in a row? He's got a Keith Black engine, but he's also coming up short. He can't challenge the Norwegian 88.58, so that means the final result looks like this. Ghostbuster was fourth. There was 8 meters to Little Angel, Stubborn Sister and Heavy Chevy in the mid-70s, with Discovery and Roadrunner 8th and 9th. Here's the points table, Simply Irresistible holding on to the lead, but Mini Breaker has closed the gap to 4 points. Right, we'll take a break now. We'll be back with the Mighty Modifieds in the 4.4 ton class. And welcome back to day 2 of the Eurocup at Sottrum in Germany. An even bigger crowd than yesterday have packed into the arena to see the first event of the day, round 3 of the 4.4 ton modifieds Eurocup. During the night, torrential rain made life a little unpleasant for the campers, but by breakfast time it had stopped, and on this well-drained site you'd hardly know there'd been any rain at all. Here's the points table after 2 rounds. Green Spirit the 4th is the one to catch, and with Desperate down in England, it's a chance for Fox and Snoopy to really go after points. Time for a quick cigarette, and as everyone else is doing it, what about a kiss? Yes. Now we can get down to the main business of the day, and first into the arena is Gold Digger, owned by Gerald Streblow from here in Sottrum, but driven by Peter Schmiedeberg from Bremen. Gerald imported it from Kerwood in Ontario, Canada some 10 years ago, and now you might say Gold Digger is prospecting for a good result today. No, I'm afraid he's not struck gold, just struck out at 51.1 meters. There are the Mike men, 40-year-old Eric and 22-year-old Ulf Snackenberg, and really doing a good job, which is what Kevin Whittingham and Snoopy from Great Britain hope to do. He and some of the other top European names will be at the British finals at Great Eccleston Showground near Blackpool on the 26th and 27th of August, so go along if you're in the area. Kevin said he needs a straight run because he's had problems earlier. When he braked, he locked up and skewed across the track. Oh, he's drifting wide. Oh, he tries to correct, but the same thing happens. He locks his differentials, he ends up broadside on, and he thinks, would you believe it? Well, he has to believe the distance, 90.06 meters, so that is a bitter disappointment for the young man from Scotland, Lancashire. All the other competitors will be breathing a sigh of relief. Their chances of getting on the winner's rostrum have just increased significantly. Now from Belgium, it's Terminator the 5th with Stef de Hoof. He missed the last round in Holland because his sister was getting married. Now he's back in the saddle. Oh, that is a lot of effort there from his Rolls-Royce Meteors. But they're unable to get him over the 100-meter mark. 85.29 for Terminator. It's getting hotter out there, especially if you happen to be standing close to this stack. It's a turbine from a Whispering Giant, the nickname of the Britannia aircraft, which is how Whispering Angel from Holland gets its name. That's Bass Liefting sitting alongside. There's a brake on each of the rear wheels, which is how you steer. Oh, and Bass is really playing footsie with his brake pedals. But the more you have to brake, the slower you go, and Whispering Angel comes to a halt just over the 80-meter mark. 83.36 for Bass Liefting. Now watch this. Pretty impressive, isn't it? And if he was to turn the stack 90 degrees, he'd have a great mobile paint stripper. But come to think of it, there wouldn't be much left to paint afterwards, would there? But the crowd enjoy watching the burnout, and Whispering Angel very much a crowd pleaser. Now from Germany, this is Museum's Keller. Eugen Kiemüller is normally behind the wheel, but he's still recovering from a spell in hospital. We hope he gets well soon, and in the meantime, his son Hans will be driving today. He works in his father's museum at Sievershofen, which is about 60 kilometers from Stuttgart, and is a must if you're interested in tanks and planes and farm machinery and that sort of thing. Well, there's no sign of the gearbox problems that's kept it out of action for most of the season. Over the 100-meter mark, and a full pull to Hans Kiemüller, who showed no trace of the nerves he said he was feeling before the start. Yeah, there's confirmation of the full pull, and he joins 5 others in the pull-off, making it 2 from Holland, 3 from Germany, and 1 from Denmark. The Green Spirit going after a hat-trick of Eurocup victories. They've added extra weight to the sledge, made a few adjustments, and you'll have noticed that this is a different sledge from the other competitions. It comes from Denmark. Right, partner, it's time for the showdown, and first to do battle with the sledge is Museum's Cat. It's the second of Eugen Kiemüller's tractors, 3 RES engines, and Rickard Holst in the hot seat. Rickard's a mechanic. He's been driving the Cat for the past couple of years. Thumbs up from the sledgeman, and the Cat starts his run. The Cat giving all it's got, but the sledge has really been weighted down this time, and Rickard's only just over the halfway mark. I would have expected more. 55.54 for Museum's Cat. The international jury members set the parameters for the sledge. They may ask for a pulling distance of about 80 meters, and it's then up to the sledge operator to weight and set the sledge accordingly. Uh-oh, I see another kiss on the horizon. And I think he can see Fox looming large in the distance. And a very impressive full pull to qualify, and the Fox team will have to get it just right if they're going to get the better of Green Spirit. Peter Larsen easing forward on the throttle. His Chevy's taking Fox as far down the arena as they can before the weight box reaches the front of the sledge and jams on the anchors. My, it really is screwed down tight today. Peter's well past the Cat, but has the current Eurocup holder done enough to end Green Spirit's run of success? Here's the distance, 69.43 meters, and now the Fox team will have to watch and wait whilst the remaining 4 take their turn. One of the officials said he thinks that the winner will have green in its title. Could that be Enrico Volaton and Green Fighter from Germany? Well, that doesn't look at all healthy to me. It's oil from the starting gearbox. In the previous round at Wallaby Flavu, he was warned about losing oil on his first run. It got worse in the pull-off, and he was disqualified. Could the same thing be about to happen today? Well, he's being towed back to the pits without running. So Green Fighter shows the white flag, not quite what the crowd expected from the reigning 5.4-ton European champion. So as one of the greens goes out, another enters, Green Spirit the fourth and Peter Direct. He passes the cleaning up operations as he does so. There was a round in the Dutch Championship yesterday at Kaiser. He won that, and now he's here to try and make it 3 wins in a row in the Eurocup. He's got 2 Rolls-Royce Griffins that he bought from Brian Armistead, the owner and driver of Desperate Dan. Brian's got about 15 left, so if you're short of 1 or 2, give him a call. Last year, Peter was beset with problems. This year, he's winning everything in sight, and he's even found time to get married. Now, can the Flying Dutchman do it again? He's really got those back wheels are turning, the engines are tuned to perfection, and he looks to be over the 70-metre mark to me. He turns around to check where Fox's marker is. He seems to be happy enough. 69.43 is the distance he has to beat. 71.37. So Green Spirit the fourth takes over the lead with just 2 to pull. Peter Direct acknowledging the applause of the crowd. And there's somebody who had a late night last night. Maybe she was at the pulling party, which was well supported. As we move swiftly on to Q18 Popeye with Jan van Elfen. He was also at Kaiser and won the 5.4 competition, but was second to Green Spirit in his class. His 3 Allison V12 straining with the sledge. Now, have they done enough to reverse yesterday's result? He missed the first round in France. He went out of bounds and was disqualified at Wallaby, but this time he should be in the money. And look at that for a heat ace from his exhaust stats. Now the moment of truth. 70.78. And Jan says, that's how far ahead of me you were to Green Spirit's mechanic, who shows Jan that he's in second place ahead of Fox. And now it's the last to run. Museum's killer from Germany with Hans Kiemüller behind the wheel. What a popular winner he'd be today. 5 American Arias engines roar to life as he shoves the throttle to the floor. Watch the weight box on the sledge. When it hits the pan at the front, it's all systems stop. 71.38 to take the lead. 69.44 to edge out the Fox from third place. 67.5, so fourth place for Museum's killer. Green Spirit does it again, and Peter Direct is joined on the podium by Jan van Elfen and Peter Larsen as we see the official result. No question about it, Green Spirit the fourth is in a class of its own this year, and there doesn't seem to be anything that Fox can do about it. With the best 4 results out of 5 counting, Green Spirit can be caught, but that is very unlikely. Now, before the final Eurocup event, let's see the winning runs in 3 other classes that were held in the German Championships. Fox didn't come away empty-handed from Sottrum. The Larsen brothers recorded a good win in the 3.4-ton modified class. They were 5 meters ahead of Museum's Cat in the pull-off. In the mini pullers, the Paschal-sponsored Ghostbuster was the only one to record 2 full pulls, so revenge was sweet for the boys from the Black Forest. Under the 5.4-ton modifieds, Museum's killer marked its return with an emphatic 13-meter victory over its nearest competition. Right, time for us to take a break. We'll be back with the final Eurocup event of the day, the 3.4-ton Super Stocks. And welcome back to Sottrum, which is well known in racing circles of a different kind. It has one of the largest stud farms in Germany. Meister Walter Vogelsang taking Lagunas back to its box. And for 3 years in a row, this beauty, Akatanango, was Racehorse of the Year in Germany. Now he spends his time trying to produce other winners for Walter Johann Jacobs, who has retired from his coffee firm and now keeps a watchful eye over the 130 horses on his 95-hectare domain. These yearlings will soon go to auction, where they'll probably fetch around 60 to 80,000 Deutschmarks. So from one type of horsepower, we return to the pulling arena in Sottrum, which incidentally backs onto the stud farm, and we'll be seeing what type of horsepower the 3.4-ton Superstocks can produce in round 3 of the Euro Cup. Right, before we start, let's remind ourselves of the current points table. Magcal Bits and Pieces doing everything right to retain its title, with Deere Addiction from Sweden hanging in there with 2 hard-won third places. And the first to pull is Deer Hunter from Holland, driven by Wim Jansen. 41-year-old Wim is a John Deere sales mechanic, and he comes from Druten near Nijmegen. Going so well, and then a nasty sound from the engine. He shuts off and he looks down, and that's probably all the running that Deer Hunter's going to do today. 43.36 for the Dutchman. And when the Germans make sausages, they certainly make them big. Look at this. What a mouthful. The biggest currywurst in Sottrum. Makes you hungry to look at it, doesn't it? You know, it'd be interesting to find out how much a crowd of 10,000 hungry pulling fans can consume in a day. The mind boggles to think about it. Back to the action, and next into the arena is Fiat Super Agri, which is the only Fiat Superstock in the world. These trainers belong to 30-year-old Klaus Blank, who comes from Bornheim. It's also the oldest Superstock in Germany. It first pulled in anger 10 years ago, but it's struggling out there now. More up and down than along at the end. So a disappointing run from the Fiat 160/90. 73.77 is the best he can do. Now here's our old friend Whitesnake with Thomas Kaiser. Why Whitesnake? Well, his transport company's colours are white and green, and a snake slithers across the ground, so Whitesnake. Not white smoke, Whitesnake. Short and sweet, and Whitesnake has blown up again. 48.13 for his first pull in the Euro Cup. And she says, I'm glad the wind's blowing in the other direction. Now from Denmark, has Niels Damgaard sorted out his technical problems? He's leading in both his classes in Denmark, but every time he sets a wheel over the border, the European champion comes to grief. Oh, a ball of flame, smoke everywhere, and it's happened again. What has gone wrong this time, I wonder? And his wife and son in the wheelchair are wondering exactly the same. The firefolk are quickly on the scene, but yet another disaster for Damgaard. It would appear that the water injection system failed, the motor overheated, an oil pipe came loose, spraying oil all over the place, hence the fire. It's given them something to film, and now the cleaning up. Supervised there by second flagman Mick Hollin, who doesn't seem to be any the worse for his confrontation with the sledge last night. And Neil's thinking, just about everything's gone wrong so far. I hope I can get back to the pits without the wheels falling off. But he'll probably be ready for the next round in Herning in a couple of weeks' time. And as they get stuck into a nice juicy chicken, the crowd have turned their attention to the start, where another chicken has rolled into the arena. Blue Chicken from Germany. Klaus Radke, the driver, said it's called Blue Chicken because Ford's colour is blue and his workshop's in an old chicken coop. It's a Ford 7810, so let's see if this chicken can come home to roost. Well, I never thought it would make it, but it has, over the 100-metre mark for a full pull. And Blue Chicken goes into an 8-way pull-off, which looks like this. All the big names are there, Can anyone get the better of Magkal Bits and Pieces? That is the question. Well, we'll soon have the answer. Here's the first of the three from Finland, Mikko Pera and Mega Power. Mikko looking round. This time he can't see any big stones in his way, so he sits back in his seat, eases forward on the throttle, and let's see how they've set the sledge this time. Well, there was nothing mega or powerful about that pull, but maybe they've overweighted the sledge again. So 46.83 is the target the others have to aim for. Now how about this for a t-shirt? When the red and bad rooster passes by. I may be fat, but you're ugly and I can always diet. So the little red and bad rooster prepares to do battle with the sledge and the John Deere tractors by the look of it. It's a confident enough sign. But the rooster is finding it hard out there as well. And short of the 50-meter mark for Hans-Peter Stratman from near Dusseldorf, who when he's not tractor pulling, he makes locks for savings banks, several $100,000 a year. 44.41 is the distance. Jaap van der Poel shakes his head, clearly unhappy with the setting the sledgeman has chosen, but it's too late to change now. Everyone will be in the same boat, and Little Red Rooster can just wait and hope. They finished their sausages, and he thinks he's got the biggest bag of popcorn in Sottrum. Think again. And good luck to you too, sir. You'll need it. And here's someone hoping for some good luck. Deere Addiction, the John Deere 4255 of Thomas Patterson from Sweden. Currently second in the Eurocup point standings. He's got a salvage yard where he breaks up tractors and other machinery. Can he salvage some points today? And that looks a pretty good effort to me. 51.65, which gives him the lead with 5 to pull. Anna Hurlevy with her two lovely daughters, Johanna and Partanen, and they're here to keep the Finnish flag flying and support the man of the household, who's just backing up to the sledge. Pekka Hurlevy and the first of his two tractors, Delta Power. It's a Valmet 8200 and more at home in the heavier 4.4 ton class. Let's see what the future holds for the Finn. Straining as hard as he can. But the weight is too much. Pekka shakes his head, points back to the sledge and says, it was like trying to pull Mount Everest. Looking to the scoreboard, oh, a show of disappointment. And there's the reason, 49.55. Delta Power goes into second place behind Deere Addiction. Now this is the main German hope, Hans Schweiger and Rowdy. He's one of his young fans. Rowdy is rolling. He's been German 3.4 champion since 1992, and with 4 successive wins already this year, he looks like he's going to do it again. Good forward speed at the start, paid off, and Rowdy is well over the 50-meter mark. The crowd are pleased because that should be good enough to take the lead. It is 55.01. And the 31-year-old agricultural machinery dealer from Weinbach near Munich looks happy with that. There's just 3 more to pull, and this is the reigning Eurocup holder, Magkal Bits and Pieces. He was also pulling at Kadsand yesterday and won 2 classes. Now, is Leonard Griffian going to emulate Green Spirit and make it 3 out of 3? Oh, it looks impressive to me. He's well over the 50-meter mark. He says, that's the best I can do. The crowd look to the scoreboard. 58.79 takes the lead, and Hans Schweiger says he's beaten me by this much to his mechanic. Well, now it's the turn of Blue Chicken, the last of the German contestants. Klaus Radke, anxious to get on with it. It's his first pull in the Euro Cup this year. He comes from close to Hamburg, so there's probably family and friends watching today. But Blue Chicken nowhere near long enough to challenge the leaders. 45.81 for Klaus Radke. And now it's the last to go. The Valmet from Finland, Pekka Hurlevy and Caesar. Runner-up last year in the European 4.4-ton class. So the tractor he's trying to beat today, bits and pieces. Well, a good start. But he seems to be a bit down on power. And Caesar is conquered well short of the 50-meter mark. 45.67 for Pekka Hurlevy, and that means 3 out of 3 for Leonard Griffian and Magcal Bits and Pieces. Getting his trophy from Barbara Brost. Now here's the official result. Magcal Bits and Pieces showing his class, and 2 successive second places to Rowdy. Now here are the current point standings. The Bits and Pieces team saying catch me if you can, but that would appear to be unlikely. Not impossible, but unlikely. If you'd like to go along and experience tractor pulling at first hand, here are some dates for your diary. The final round of the Euro Cup is at Meerkerk in Holland, which is east of Rotterdam, and the European Championships at Hårbo in Sweden, which is close to Malmö. In Germany, there are 2 rounds of the championship left, with a final cup competition in October at Wörl, southeast of Bielefeld. That's it for today. Enjoy your tractor pulling, and this is Roger England saying bye for now.